Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show, you might notice a fair amount of sunburn. Yes, I was at the races yesterday, and yes, that's the reason why the show is absolutely late, but let's get into this thing, albeit I'm a little bit in pain right now. But let's talk about some fun stuff. Let's talk about Chevrolet. It's in the news as they head on down to the Texas State Fair to show off a pair of Centennial machines. Chevrolet celebrating its 100th anniversary of existence, and they're doing it with a pair of brand new pickup trucks. Now, one of the things that you notice right off the bat is this vehicle has a brand new badge. Gone is the gold inlay with the chrome outline of the classic Chevrolet bow tie in favor of the chrome outline with chrome Chevrolet letters in the center, along with the blue paint rather than the gold. This is a classic look from classic Chevrolets gone by. And I have to say, it's probably one of the coolest things on this particular machine. Now, let's get down to the Silverado, Colorado editions, the Centennial editions of each. These vehicles have a ton of bespoke parts and pieces, including a lot of badging all over them with the 100th anniversary all over them as well, along with exclusive Centennial blue paint that will only be available on these two machines if you order one of these vehicles with said paint. Now, if you want to get your hands on the Chevrolet Silverado Centennial Edition, that vehicle is available as we speak, so you can head on down to your Chevrolet dealership right now. If you want the Colorado Edition, you are going to have to wait a little bit of time, but it's just a month as it comes out in November of 2017. Next up on the list, let's talk about this gorgeous machine. Now, the trick is, this is still one of those cars that you see every now and then where some group is trying to put together this big-time supercar. But this group is a tad bit different because instead of building some great big, one-off monocoque or maybe even a space frame, tube frame chassis vehicle with a big Chevy V8 because they're very inexpensive to throw in there, this thing's got a lot of Porsche DNA. In fact, it comes from a donor 911 Turbo S. This is the brand new from the folks over at Anibal Automotive, which is actually a Porsche tuning group out of Canada. This is their brand new Ikon 1 or Ikon RR. This vehicle's got all the supercar goodness that you would really hoped for, including a lot of those underpinnings of that Turbo S, including the turbocharged, twin turbocharged, flat 6 that now makes 920 horsepower. They're claiming, with this vehicle only weighing 3,400 pounds, this vehicle can zip to 60 in just 2.4 seconds. And it's got all the supercar goodness that you were really hoping for out of a modern-day machine, including active aero, active suspension. The vehicle is obviously all-wheel drive and all-wheel steering. You look at the rear end of the machine, you obviously get to see a little bit of the 911 still left as the taillight section is on offer on this machine. Carbon ceramic brakes on all four corners, and it's going to have gull wing doors, which I haven't quite figured out exactly how that's going to work on this particular machine. It's a cool piece of kit, and they're getting ready to build this thing. They're only going to build an initial offering of just 5 of these vehicles for the world. Apparently, already 3 of them are sold, so there's only 2 more left available. They're talking about doing a complete run if the excitement from the fan base is enough to actually build 50 of these vehicles in total. So we'll definitely keep you in tune because I really think this thing looks pretty doggone good. So it'll be exciting to hear a lot more news about this machine. Next up on the list, McLaren's in the news as they're showing off this photograph and a couple of others all across their social media platforms, which is basically a camoed version of the brand new McLaren 720S. But if you look really close, look at the windshield. Yes, the driver of this machine, one of the big wigs at McLaren, is sitting dead center in the machine, much like the classic McLaren F1 from back in the day. McLaren fans have been clamoring wanting McLaren to actually go out and build a center steering unit for their machines to make these cars much like the old F1. And it's been rumored now for well over a year. There was a lot of talk that it was going to be a replacement for the P1, but we're seeing it first off in this 720. Not for sure if there's going to be a special edition 720 that's going to have the center steer. Maybe quite possibly they may have it on all their vehicles moving forward, or at least an option to do so, which would be pretty doggone expensive now that I think about it. So it's going to be interesting to see what McLaren may have up their sleeve for future stuff. This is pretty doggone cool if you ask me. Last up on the list, let's talk about the old Alfa Romeo Stelvio. The vehicle that's named after one of the most fantastic roads on the planet took on one of the most famous roads on the planet, that in quadrifoglio trim. That's the Nürburgring Nordschleife loop. Now, a little refresher for the quadrifoglio version of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio comes with a twin turbocharged V6 making 505 horsepower and 443 pounds-feet of torque. That is shifted through an 8-speed ZF gearbox, and the vehicle is all-wheel drive. 0 to 60 is achieved in just 3.9 seconds, but its lap record around the ring makes it the fastest SUV around the Nordschleife loop. It did it in 7 minutes 51.7 seconds, besting the Porsche Cayenne Turbo. Now here's the trick with this little record run that puts it in a little bit of context, which shows you a tad bit of the rate of progression for automobiles. The Stelvio quadrifoglio is faster around the Nürburgring than the last generation Ford GT. If you'd have told me when Ford took the GT to the ring and set a record that one day an SUV would beat it, would have called you crazy. Now the trick is, this record probably is going to be very short-lived, because you think about the cars that are coming down the pike. Got a brand new Cayenne Turbo that's actually just came out over the past several weeks. That's going to be itching to get to the Nürburgring. And it'd be lovely to think that FCA would throw the money at taking that Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk with the 707 horsepower Hellcat engine to the old Nordschleife loop. Chances are pretty slim of that. They got some bigger fish to fry over there than actually to throw a lot of money taking it to the ring. So it's going to be interesting to see how long this record lasts. I'm assuming it's not going to be too very long, but kudos to Alfa for taking over this record. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiast. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. The first dibs on the brand new show as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.